The winter sports season is underway, and we are excited to begin our AD podcast for the winter season. Today, we're going to talk all things Indian Hill Braves with AD Brian Phelps. Brian, how are we doing this morning?
Doing great. Thanks, Rob.
It felt like spring out there yesterday, didn't it?
It did. It's nice to have that in December from time to time.
Hey, before we jump into winter season, and I know that it's everything's underway, you guys had such a special fall season for a few sports that we talked through the fall regular season, but we didn't get to share the great success in the seasons that several of your teams had in the fall. And I thought let's give them a little time before we jump into the winter. How's that sound?
I love it.
Let's start off with boys soccer, OHSA state championship. What a run! What a season! What a run! They'll be talking about that season for a long time.
It was so much fun to go undefeated on the year in any sport is almost impossible. We talk a lot about last year. We felt like was a team that could win it, and we had some special players, and we knew we had a nice core coming back, but we had a lot of kids getting their first ever varsity start this year. So it was almost even more special. I don't want to say it was unexpected because we knew we would have a solid team, but it's hard to say you expect to win a state championship and really mean it. But this was such a fun team to watch. It was such a team. Yet we were led by, a handful of really special players, but it was as much of a team effort as I've seen for any of our sports. Just they got along, they played their role. There were stars, there were role players, there were it just it just all came together. And that state championship game up in Columbus at Historic Crew was just so much fun. Like when you knew that it looks like we're going to do this, it was just it was as special of a state championship as I've been a part of, and I've been lucky enough to be, part of a handful of championships.
The thing that to think that they went undefeated in regular season because the CHL schedule was tough this year. I mean, there was some great boys soccer just in the CHL, and to get through that gauntlet undefeated, and then the other non-league teams that were on the schedule, it just I think it had to prepare them for the state run. I mean, it just was a great, challenging season.
Yeah, we talk a lot about tennis, how our boys and girls should play the best from wherever. Brian Daniel really does the same thing with soccer. He makes sure, especially in our division, that we're playing the top teams from around the state. We travel a little bit to make that happen. And you're right, like between the CHL and the other games that we had really prepared us for this run. And I don't know if there was a game that we were in that we didn't feel like we were the better team. And I guess that makes sense. We were undefeated, but you're going up against some powerhouse programs, and you get into the game, it's like these guys aren't better than us, and that's a pretty neat feeling to have for the boys and the coaches.
Yeah, so congratulations to them on the state championship for 2024. It's just something they'll remember the rest of their life, and it's just so exciting that it happened for your boys' soccer team. Let's switch over to girls' tennis. I mean, they've set the bar for a long time, and they continue to set the bar. Once again, a tough schedule going against the Masons and the Sycamores, and all the tough teams during the regular season, and it paid dividends again.
Yeah, another state championship for the girls tennis team. I mean, and again, led by some really talented players. Obviously, to be state champions, you have to have a lot of talent. But it's just a fun team to watch, whether it's first singles or second doubles. They scratch and claw, and they're just a lot of fun to watch. And it's fun to see tennis really be so dominant here for so many years at the boys and girls side of it. It's something we expect and hope we can keep going.
Yeah, it's great. I know the state football championships wrapped up at Tom Benson Stadium this weekend. Indian Hill didn't make it to this weekend, but they had a very special season, and football has come a long way here in the last 3 years. And I know you're very pleased, and you wanted to mention about the football season.
Yeah, after I'll call it a stumble, weeks 9 and 10, it turned out that losing to Taylor in week 9, they ended up being a really good football team. They had a nice run themselves in the tournament. Wyoming's always, I'm sorry, week 10 was Taylor, week 9 was Wyoming. That's always going to be our Michigan Ohio State game, if
Sure.
you will, and anything can happen. So I think being bummed out, not being league champs, losing week 9 and 10, you really have to look in the mirror like, what kind of season do we want to finish off on? And the run that we went on, it was so much fun to knock off the number 1 seed Clinton Massey at their place, a program that's dominant year in and year out, and then to get to that Taft game, who to have a chance to win it. And then we saw them, make it to the Final Four, had a really special season. We were that close. It was just a good reminder of how close we really are. And you're right. I think in the last 3 years, we've made some tremendous strides from a culture standpoint, from just a culture standpoint of, we're expected to win. They put the hard work in. We have a great coaching staff. We have some of the best players in the state. That and one of the best players in the state will be returning, and Devlin Daniel for us. But it's not just Devlin. It's we were talking about soccer earlier, just with so many kids knowing how to play their role to make the team successful. And that's what I think about football.
Yeah, that Northridge game after back-to-back losses, traveling all the way up to Northridge and getting that win and building some confidence. I think that was the springboard in the playoffs. That was a huge, huge win for the Braves, and I think they've set the table for a really special season next year if they all want to put the work in and get that offensive line back to open the holes for Devlin. I think it should be another special season.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be a lot of fun, and hopefully, we have a handful of more years of some special seasons.
Well, hopefully Bobby Slattery will come back and come down the hill and grill up some burgers because that was a nice perk, I got to tell you.
And I'm glad you said that. And we have so many great sponsors and supporters here at Indian Hill in so many different ways. But to think about that, we recognize, how do we get our crowd here before the kickoff? We usually have nice crowds, but not early enough of when we would like. And so when he started offering free cheeseburgers from 6 to 6:45, the crowd showed up, and that was a pretty neat thing for him to do. And hopefully we can continue that partnership.
Yep, that was special and fun and all those good things. So congratulations to all three of those teams that really had a special season, and best of luck to them next year. So let's do an abbreviated version here to get through these winter sports teams in our time allotted. It's early, but things have kicked off. Let's start. Let's talk boys and girls basketball.
Yeah, boys basketball opened up this weekend, Friday and Saturday. We had two good games, lost both games Friday night at Marymount. We were up, then we were down kind of big, clawed back to get back into it. Ended up being a free throw type of game in the fourth quarter, and always a bummer to lose to a league opponent. But it is what it is. And we had the Body Armor Classic here at Indian Hill, where we hosted 5 games, lost at the buzzer on a 3 to a team out of West Virginia. But it was kind of the coming out party for Rocco. Our freshman hit 10 threes in the game, 36 points. But Friday night, I think about Big Will and Big Michael, having good games, and Ashton Graham having a good game for us. So I say that to say, there's some good pieces, and when we're all firing on the same, we're going to be really tough to beat. And the girls won the first 3 games. They played Chaminade Julian, which is a really nice team in the Body Armor Classic, and really played well, came up short, but the girls have started off 3-1. Always nice to get a league win at Marymount, and had another nice league win earlier in the week against Taylor. So got some games coming up. Deer Park, Madeira will be tough Friday night for the girls, but I think boys and girls basketball is going to be a lot of fun to watch this winter.
Yeah, good luck to them, and get out and support the team. The Indian Hill Gym's a great place to watch a game and get out and support them. let's dive into the pool and talk swimming. And it's early. There's no tapering going on yet. Some of them are still swimming for their club, but just a kind of an overview on what's going on with swimming, Brian.
Yeah, last week, kind of an opening meet. We went over to Marymount. It was Roger Bacon, Marymount, and us, and shoot, there was somebody else there as well. But it's swimming is unlike any other sport where we had a quad meet. We had about a third of our team there because some of the kids are finishing up with their club meets, and
Right.
it feels like it's all practice until classics, and then all of a sudden it's sectional, districts, and state. And I think as usual, thankfully, at least in recent memory, boys and girls will continue to be very successful at the league level and come tournament time. So I expect to be in Canton this winter, rooting on both a handful of our boys and girls, and maybe even bringing home some hardware. We'll see.
That's great. Good luck to them as they get their teammates back at the end of the year and start working to get back up to Canton. So good luck to them. Let's go to the mat. Give the fans an update on Indian Hill Braves wrestling.
Yeah, we had a quad match this past weekend, and we're able to defeat McNick and Aiken. Came up short against Connor down in Kentucky. So they've got a lot of fun things planned. This Friday night, we'll have youth night here in the high school gym. Would be a great time to come and support our wrestlers and have our youth kids. Nate Iger and Joe Castanier, who really lead our wrestling program, are just really into it. We've got a youth kids club going, about 30 youth.
That's great.
Yeah, and that's what you really need to do to make sure they have opportunities. So get them in your program early. I just really pleased with the time and effort and the fun things that our wrestling coaches are doing to make it a great experience for our kids.
Yeah, it's great that the numbers are up. It's a tough and grueling sport, but man, it sets life lessons that you'll have for the remainder of your time on things. So good luck to them. Let's talk about one of my favorite winter sports, boys and girls bowling. I just love the growth of this sport, and think it's great that kids that can get out and participate and wear Indian Hill on their chest.
Yeah, absolutely. Our girls already have a win on the year, and both boys and girls teams are going to get wins. I think they'll be solid in the league. I love, as you mentioned, just to see the program grow. We have lots of
Wonderful.
kids. Yeah, it's great. It's one of those great sports that you add to your program that just, it wasn't like kids were doing other things in the winter. So we were able to capture a whole new group of student athletes to be Indian Hill Braves and participate. And as you say, wear that Indian Hill across their chest and just represent some good stuff, the athletic department and the school.
And Brian, one of the things, this is one of those life sports. You get out and learn how to bowl and have some fun with it, something you can do for the rest of your life. And I think the growth of high school bowling has helped these lanes because so many were going under because nobody was bowling. I think high school bowling has really helped reinvigorate Madison Bowl, Crossgate, Eastgate. I just think it's just huge.
Yeah, no, I agree. Hopefully the golf courses will be reminded too that these youth golfers need a place to play because those are your members and those are your players that are really having trouble, I think, across the city with golf courses. But I agree. If they look at the model of bowling,
I agree.
catching these kids early, that's going to be best for everybody.
And if you're catching this show and hearing us talk about high school bowling and saying, "Man, I didn't know there was high school bowling," I encourage you to go to Eastgate Lanes or to Crossgate or to Matty Bowl when the Braves are bowling, and you'll be so glad when you walk to your car afterwards, saying, "Boy, that was so much fun," because it's the cheering and the Baker games, and it's so much fun.
Yeah,
I just love it. I just absolutely love it.
I agree. I'm with you.
Yeah, I think we're going to wrap up this week's show talking gymnastics. I think they only have had one meet last week at Cincinnati Country Day, but they've had great success last year, and I'm sure this year is no exception.
Yeah, opened up at Country Day. We have two gymnasts this year. What
Nice.
we partner with Steve Connors, the gymnastics coach over at Country Day. We partner with them for our kids to be able to participate. So we love to be able to support them and and help create those opportunities. Really exciting, for them, and we'll find ways to support them throughout the year. And I think it's going to be all good.
Yeah, good luck to all the Braves as they start off their winter season. Brian, thanks for your time as always. Thanks for the update on fall sports. Have a great week. Good luck to everyone. And next week we'll have Julius on the show, and we'll touch base with him on Monday. But as always, have a great week, and thanks for your time, Brian.
Thanks, Rob, and go Braves.